Throughout Japan's history, many tales have been told involving fascinating folklore creatures. Today, it gains much popularity that it even gets referenced in several films and anime. Here, I gathered 10 mythological creatures that I found interesting. Number 10. Kasha. Most of upper-class families during the Edo period had cats as their pets since it is believed they bring good fortune. Kasha, on the other hand, is not an ordinary cat. These creatures disguise themselves as normal household cats and hide a dark secret. Whenever a family member dies and has a funeral ceremony, these cats transform into their true form. They become a humanoid cat demon with a burning tail. Their main task is to snatch the corpses of wicked humans to send them to hell. According to legend, there are 3 ways to prevent this from happening. Placing a hair razor on top of the coffin would prevent the cat from touching it, while another method is to leave a small rock inside the coffin just beside the corpse. The last method is to let the priest bless the coffin and chant, "I will not let Kasha feed on this," twice during the funeral. This way, it prevents the demonic cat transforming to its true form. Number 9. Nurikabe. Possibly one of the most annoying creatures, they form themselves as an invisible wall that blocks the pathway of whoever is in front of it. Since they cannot be seen by the human eye, the only time a person would know they have encountered one of these is when they feel a strong vibration when bumping into it. Legend has it that when trying to get around it, the wall will simply further extend its arm to prevent the person from crossing. If one tries to brute force his way through, he'll simply bounce off like hitting a big block of jelly. There is really no way to get around it. If one comes across it, they have no choice but to turn around and find another route. Number 8. Nupeppo. First appeared in the Japanese literature during the 18th century. They resembled much like an old saggy face with folds of fat. It has a foul body odor and is described to be 5 feet in height. Combined with its sad facial expression, they are often found alone wandering around graveyards or abandoned villages. They are believed to be harmless, and their only purpose is to scare away travelers at night for unwanted attention. Due to their rancid smell, villagers had tried to capture one of these creatures, but despite its chubby appearance, they are known to be quite agile and could outrun any human beings. Regardless of its pungent smell, it is believed that its flesh contains magical properties, and when it's eaten, it could cure any type of disease and even grants the person eternal life. While many claim that this is true, the catch is that whoever consumed it transforms into one of them. Number 7. Noparabo. They are known as the faceless ghosts. While in their true form they don't have facial features, they in fact can transform to any face they want as an illusion. They blend in with society and behave like a normal person. Usually appears at night, they are quite sociable to human beings. They initiate conversation with strangers and even get to know them personally. Once they acquired much information about the person, it surprises them by copying their faces before using its hand to wipe their face off, revealing its true self. The backstory of this creature tells the story about a lazy fisherman who went fishing at a sacred pond despite the warning that it's off limits. The following day, he went back to the same pond and continued to fish. On his way back home, several fishermen scolded him not to fish there, but he simply ignored them. On the 3rd day, he went back there again. While he was fishing, a young woman came up to him and told him to leave. When he refused to do so, the woman wiped away her face, which scared the fisherman. When he rushed home to his wife, he told her about what happened, and when he touched her head, her face disappeared. Surprised by this, he accidentally touched his own face, and when he looked at the mirror, his facial features vanished as well. Number 6. Jorogumo. This spider is able to shapeshift into a young, beautiful woman and spent most of its life in human form. Some tales said that in its true form, it has the head of a woman and the body of a spider, while others have claimed that it turns into a complete 7-foot spider. Regardless of this, they are always on the look for prey. Their favorite target are young, handsome men who are looking for love. An effective way they do this is by seducing them and then getting them drunk. Once they are vulnerable, the Jorogumo will bite its victim's neck and leave him paralyzed. Just like any spider, after their prey is immobile, they will wrap him in a web and then slowly devour him. Number 5. Mikoshi Nyodo. Often wanders around deserted roads where rarely any travelers pass by. They disguise as an old monk, but are actually a wild beast inside. They walk without any sandals on and have hideous smelly feet. Whenever they come across a stranger, they are quite friendly and are always eager to start a conversation. If the person immediately looks at the old man's feet and then raises his eyes to look upon his head, the old man's neck would stretch so high and then bite the victim's head off. If the stranger chooses to not make any eye contact and ignore him, the monster would stab him with the bamboo spear as soon as his back is turned. It is said that the only way to survive this encounter is to engage with the conversation while only focusing on his face. Then after several minutes, look down to his feet and back to his face. The old man would end the conversation and allow the traveler to safely pass. Number 4. Tenome. In English, it translates to eyes on hands. It is described as a bald elderly blind man around his 60s whose eyes are on the palm of his hand. Its origin started from the story about a blind old man who was taking his usual morning walk on a field and was suddenly attacked by thieves. They took his belongings and left him to die alone. His last words were, "If only I had seen their faces, but my eyes can't see. If only I had eyes on the palms of my hands." That night, he was reborn as a ghost with a pair of eyes on the palm of his hand, and his objective was to find the people who killed him. With a huge desire for vengeance, he wandered around the field to look for clues about his attackers. He roamed around various villages and temples, but since he was blind when he got killed, he never saw the faces of the suspects. There is a certain tale involving this creature. It's about a boy who was playing truth or dare with his friends. He was dared to go to a graveyard alone at night. When he arrived at the place, he encountered the blind old man. The boy approached him closer and noticed the strange eyes on his palms. Terrified by this, he ran to the nearby temple and asked for help. He explained to the priest that he was being chased by a monster and begged him for protection. He hid the boy inside a large chest and locked its lid. The priest then went off to hide himself inside a closet. When the monster entered the temple, the boy heard his footsteps get closer and closer to his location and then made a slurping sound. After several minutes, the priest went out to check on the boy. He grabbed the key and unlocked the chest, only to discover that it was empty and the boy had gone missing. Number 3. Tenjo Kodari. In many different cultures, it is believed that attics are commonly connected to several superstitions. In Japan, it is thought that an old woman with a bizarre long tongue uses the attic as their habitat. At night, they scare anyone who enters the room, and sometimes when their victim is asleep, they would crawl out and lick the person's face. Just before they opened their eyes, these creatures would go back inside the ceiling. They would do this numerous times just to annoy their target, but eventually they reveal themselves for one final scare. It is said that if the ceiling is making a ticking sound, this monster is most likely present and waiting for a chance to strike. Number 2. Yuki Onna. Often appearing in snowy Japanese mountains, Yuki Onna is a tall, beautiful woman with long black hair. One of her distinct features is that her skin is so pale that it almost blends into the white landscape. Whenever she encounters a group of hikers, she tricks them and tells them that she is lost and looking for directions back to her inn. When she gets closer, she blows a strong gust of cold wind and freezes her prey. There are stories that some people manage to escape from her, but when they come back with a larger group to investigate the area to track her down, all signs of footprints disappeared. Many believe that she floats across the snow. In fact, some tales even said that whoever touches her skin would be permanently frozen. Number 1. Gasha do Kuro. Translates to starving skeleton. It is described to be 90 feet tall and roams around the countryside at night hunting for humans to eat. It got its name from an old tale. During the famine, the people who were worthless and didn't contribute to the village were kicked out due to a shortage of food. These people traveled village to village looking for somebody to accept them. While very few were taken in, the rest died from starvation. With so much grudge from the victims, they gathered their bones together to create a giant skeleton and seek revenge. It is also believed that these creatures are invisible, and they only appear when it's a couple of feet nearby. The person would hear the sound of a ringing bell, which indicates that the giant skeleton is behind them. They prey on lone travelers at night, they chase down their victims, and what's even worse is that they purposely make themselves tired out from running before eating them. It's almost impossible to get away from this monster, since its sheer size could catch anybody. There are stories of soldiers who tried to take down these creatures by baiting it to an open field and ambushing it with weapons, but all turn out to be unsuccessful. So long as they continue consuming human prey, They are believed to be immortal.